Morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 55. And like I said last week on my IG story, I was going to do a podcast yesterday about gratitude and thanking the people who are here and thanking the people who left and whatnot. And it's like, and I ended up not doing that because it's like I just didn't want to. But today, since today is Sunday, and and I usually do my podcasts on Sunday. Here we go. And yeah, man. First off, gratitude, bro. Always. Thankful for the lessons, whether positive or negative. Um, thank you for the people who taught me shit, bro. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. I thank you for and I thank people for teaching me how to be, or not how to be, but what to tolerate and what not to tolerate, and everything in between. And this year, man, I'll be 34 this year, bro. I'll be 34 the day after Halloween. That's crazy. Yeah. And yeah, and I think I wrote down my goals and everything for 2022, and we gonna crush all of them. Now we may even add goals to the list, you know. And at the end of the day, we just gonna keep it moving, bro. I've never been one to sit here and and like dwell on shit that it's already happened or whatever it is. One of my partners and me, we made a rule saying that we ain't gonna talk about 2021 problems in 2022, and it's facts. Um, doesn't mean that those individuals that we ain't gonna talk about, we know that we aren't gonna be there for them, but we're not gonna be there for them in the capacity that they used to. And and like I said, man, it's no ill will, there's no bad blood. It just I know it's for me and I know it's not for me, and I'm gonna keep it moving. And at the end of the day, man, I do value genuine friendships, and I do value the people around me. I do value the people in my circle, and it's like I have a lot of growing to do, myself, and that's one thing this year has taught me is that. And also, I don't believe in right person, wrong time shit. I believe that that there's just time and opportunity, and you take that opportunity, and you put yourself out there for the opportunity. And if it doesn't work out, oh well. Now and now you know what not to do. Uh, Also too, that's why I'm a firm believer is like in doing what you want to do, not doing what other people think that you're good at. Um, which brings me to my music and everything too. A lot of people didn't know, including my family, didn't know that I was making music. I've been doing this since college. I've been doing this since 2006, 2007. A little backstory behind that. I was in community college, and I was like 18, 19, and this older cat, we had a couple. I think we had a couple classes together. Guy's name was Tate Henderson, real cool dude, and so what it was is he had he played music. I think he was from Memphis, Tennessee, and real solid white boy. And I don't mean that in a racial way, just saying what he is, and like he. Like we was talking about music one day, and I was like, "Yo, hey, I produce music, this and this and that." And my knowledge of producing music was very limited at that time. It was I probably still have the program too. It was called EJ Hip Hop 6. And what it was already pre-made loops that you plug and play, and you can make beats off that. And believe me, some of this shit was fucking fire. And I still have some of the instrumentals that I made off that, like 15 years ago. And so we hooked up, and we actually had like a music club on campus. And some of the cats were real good. Some of the cats were like, I don't know about this. I don't know about him. You know what I mean? And it's like we had kept in touch, and then and like he was still doing music and everything, and um after I left community college and went out to the university, did my thing, got my degree and everything, and then life kind of got in the way, and we kind of lost touch. But it's like um without meeting that dude, I probably would have never expanded my I don't want to say musical abilities, but my creativity in music. Um, my cousin actually that same year he had downloaded a crack version of Fruit Loops, and I was making music off that. I was like, it was like Fruit Loops 9 or 10 or whatever it was, and so I was making beats off that, and then I would also sample from other producers as well. And as the years gone on, it's like I just slowly started, getting more and more music equipment. It's like, but it was it wasn't until this year where I'm like, oh, it's like okay, you've been doing this for a minute, but you haven't upgraded anything. And so I actually spent some nice chunk of change, and I upgraded everything, and made myself current in the music world in terms of instruments and keyboards and fucking turntables and studio monitors and everything, man. And it's like, oh, and one of the goals for this year, the goal is to still get the Life album done, by next month, Valentine's Day. So I have the tracks already done, most of them. Making tracks doesn't take me that long, It's like it's the mixing and mastering that I'm probably gonna have an issue with, because it's like I'm still trying to learn that as well. So and I'm still waiting on a couple beats from my boys, and so like they're doing their shit. They're like, yo, like if you're gonna put out an album, like let me jump on that bitch, like let me show you what I've been doing producing wise. And so if somebody hears your shit and likes it, and let's keep it moving. And at the end of the day, man, music is one thing for me, dog. It's so therapeutic. Um, I can sit here for hours, and I've done that. And just work on tracks. You know, I can sit in my room and just at this little station and just work on music. Um, and that's why for me it's like, or when I create or when I work on a project, I get immersed in it. And it's like, and lyrically my skills are okay. You know, I'm no Kendrick Lamar or Eminem or J. Cole or anything like that. Ironically, the top 5 guys that I listen to is in no particular order: Jay-Z, J. Cole, Kendrick, Hopkins, which is he's phenomenal, and Logic. And honorable mention would probably be Eminem. It's like I always got them dudes in rotation, man. I'll be in the whip going to the job, and I'll be like, um, I'll be just vibing out to them, or like I'll have my instrumentals playing at work, and I'll be taking breaks at work and just writing rhymes at work, man. It's like and a lot of my shit that I make on my own is it's I love keyboards, and I love how the piano sounds. And so because I'm hugely influenced by Dr. Dre. And so like if you listen to all my tracks more or less, it's like they always have some sort of piano chord in them. And then it's like and like a lot of my partners who listen to my music, they're like, yo, why does the keyboard, why does the piano have such a prominent sound in all your music? I'm like, that's that West Coast shit. It's like growing up in Hawaii, the closest thing to hip hop, back in the day, you know, before social media and before everything else popped off, it was West Coast. I remember growing up watching MTV music videos, like 6, 7, 8 years old, and not not knowing what the lyrics were about, but I'm like, yo, like I heard the beat first, and it's like it just took off, and it's like I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And and that's what got me hooked. Probably one of the first records I ever heard that was a hip hop record was Coogee Rap's Fast Life. I was about, oh, they came out of what, in 90, 95? Yeah, I was about 7, yeah. And so I heard that, and I'm like, and I heard the beat go, dun, 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 and it's played, and I'm like, I wasn't even paying attention to the lyrics, because I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. All I knew was that, like, oh, I like what I heard. And and I think that Christmas, my mom then asked me, like, oh, like, what do you want? I was like, oh, well, I was like, yo, I want a microphone. And my dad's like, what? She said, yeah, like, I wanna record. And growing up, I had one of them. Y'all remember those Casio keyboards? The little miniature keyboards where you could like plug in like different sounds and whatnot. They had different tapes and everything too. I had one of those, and yeah, man, like, um, I have no idea what happened to that thing, but it was, I loved it. And I remember getting that. I remember getting, this microphone stand where it was a mic, like a standalone mic, and at the bottom it had like this little box, and the box at the bottom was like a tape recorder where you could speak into the mic, and it like and the box at the bottom would record what you said. So I thought that was pretty dope. I don't remember what the brand was, or what happened to that thing, but it's like, yo, it's like I've been around music my entire life. My dad growing up, we had this makeshift studio in our house. We had this we had well, now it's a spare bedroom, but growing up it was like it had vinyl records, and we had turntables, we had mics, and it's like I would fight sleep just to stay up with my dad and listen to jazz records. So that's why when I'm, right now when I'm sampling for this life album, a lot of the shit that I'm sampling from is his collection. It's a way for me and him to, even though he's physically not here anymore, it's a way for me and him to like basically still have that bond. And if and when I do have kids or whatever it is, it's like, oh, I'm gonna expose them to all the shit that I was exposed to music wise. It's like, yo, like this is what pops did, and this is what this is what I'm doing. And like if you work at this and you get better at it, like, yo, you can be better than me. And I'm not saying that I'm great or anything like that, but it's like, yo, it's like if you expose people to a positive outlet, because that's what music is, man. It's a positive outlet. If you expose them to that, think about how far they can go. Perfect example to me is um Eminem. Like, the dude grew up in destitute, man, and it's like, and I'm not using Eminem as an example because he's white. I'm using Eminem because he's one of the greatest MCs I've ever heard in my life. And that's no diss to anybody else, but that's just my opinion. Eminem to me, bro, is like hip hop is predominantly black, and a lot of people can't stand the fact that there's a white boy out there doing it better than most black men. That's what it comes down to, man. It's like Eminem, man. He like his wordplay, his like the way he thinks of things, bro. Is like, I remember, I think he did an interview with Sway, and he was talking to Sway like how he'll sit in the booth and like he'll come up with words that rhyme, like and like, or he'll come up with certain ways to say the same word but with different inflection, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But to sit there and have somebody break down, just a simple word like orange, it's like, and how you say it with inflection versus how you're just saying it regularly. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, it just, for me, man, music, bro, it's always been such a beautiful thing, man. It's like, I remember, yo, um, the one thing I've always done is when everything was going good in my life, I always had cans with me, man. It's like, everything was going bad, I've always had cans with me, man. So it's like I've always had a pair of headphones on me, and I swear to God, bro, it's like, um the amount of shit, the amount of money I spent on shit, bro, music wise, and I'm like, And people look at me, they're like, what? That's crazy. But it's like, no, at the end of the day, I know what I want to do and I know what I'm capable of. And it's like I had a really good friend of mine ask me one day a while back. She asked me like, "Oh, and we was hanging out and we was going record shopping. And actually, matter of fact, I was going record shopping. She just wanted to tag along. I was like, okay, bet. I'll meet you here whatever time. And so so we met up and like and like we going through the crates and everything too. Well, I'm going through the crates and she was telling me like, yo, she's like, I remember her asking me like, she's like you're not gonna sample the music before you buy it? I was like, nah. It's like, cause I figure it's like, yo, I'm just sampling from this joint. Like I'm gonna take it home back to the crib and I'm just gonna make it do what it do, right? And I remember she asking me like, yo, you know what? Is this something that you want to do professionally? It's like I would love to do it professionally, you know, but at this particular time, and I don't want to say that it's a hobby, but it's a passion of mine. And she's like, then she's like, oh, you know what, like, what's the difference? It's like, a hobby is something that you do when you have time to do it. A passion is something that you do when you don't. A passion is something that you do that you make time for it. And and even with her, dog, is like the more we talked about music, bro, it's like the more we just kind of just clicked, and it's like it just started clicking, boom, 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 and it's like, yo, and it's like I remember I was sending her shit that I was doing that I haven't even released yet, and it's like I remember, she told me something like, yo, I remember her telling me like whenever you done with your, whenever you done with your project, I would love to hear. I'm like, I'm looking at her like, wait, what? Like, what you mean? and then, and of course, she would critique it and everything too. And the one thing I've been working on is the transitions, the tempos, the sound and everything, man. And it's like, I actually was gonna go to, was gonna go to the movies today, but I'm actually probably not gonna go to the movies. I'm probably gonna sit here and work on this album, because I gotta get it done. and it's like, but music, man, it's beautiful, dog. It's brought me in touch with so many different people from so many different backgrounds, from so many different genres, man. It's like, and like for me, it's like I love it because it exposes you to so many different things. Um, I was talking to one of my cousins last night, and I sent her some of my tracks that I've done. And she's like, yo, like this shit is good. It was like this is you. It's like, yeah, and she was telling me like she's telling me like, yo, like keep going. I was like, I ain't gonna stop. Like there's no quit in my blood. And it's like, and when I say that, it's because how I was raised, man. Is like my dad. He was very, very. Oh, actually, not just my dad, but my mom. My mom and my dad. They were just very two strong-headed individuals, and it's like, yo, and it's like me and my brother, like we the same way, and it's like we just gonna go after what we want, and like we're not gonna stop, and until we get what we want, and it's like it's like that type of aggression, it can turn a lot of people off because it's like people think you aggressive all the time, and it's like, no, I'm only aggressive to, when I got these cans or when I'm sitting in front of my keyboard, when I'm trying to figure out shit, like that's the only time that aggression comes out, you know, and it's like because I'm sitting there trying to perfect a passion of mine that a lot of people don't understand because it's like I know what I want to do. I've never been that dude to, you know, who like I'll listen to people, you know, give their unsolicited advice, and I'll go off and do whatever I was gonna do to begin with, because at the end of the day, man, is like I like this is my gift, words, music, everything, all this shit that I'm saying, all the shit that I said, like this is me working on my gift, like. How am I better than somebody else if I don't even work on my gifting of the shit that I wanted to do, the shit that I was put here to do? And at the end of the day, man, is like I think you just have to find something, or we all know what we're good at, and we all know what our true calling is. It's like, but I think a lot of us, man, we're just so afraid of judgment, or just, or people not understanding what we're doing, that we don't do it. And one day you're gonna wake up and be fucking 50 and be like, yo, from the age of 18 to age now, I wasted 32 years worrying about other people's opinions, and it really doesn't matter. Because it's like, at the end of the day, man, I don't care. I don't care if it's somebody you dating, somebody that uh, what you do for your, what do you do for a check? I don't care what it is. A lot of people won't understand what you're doing, and because they can't see you doing better than them, you know. And this all wraps up in the gratitude bag, because it's like gratitude, man, is like you have to show gratitude no matter what, even if it's somebody that you don't agree with. Just show gratitude in general, because it's not their fault that they can't see you chasing, chasing your gift or using your gift, because they're too afraid to use their gift. Um, I've had I know a couple people who, they want to go into fitness and this and this and that. I'm like, yo, go do it. And they're like, oh, well, like, they come up with all the excuses, this and this and that. I'm like, stop with the excuses. Go after what you want. Like, and I'm like, and and they say, but like nothing, like no. I'm like, there's no buts. It's like it's about how bad do you want it? How bad are you willing to sacrifice for it? It's because it's like, at the end of the day, people's opinions are great. Whether it's friends, family, whatever it is, but they're also telling you what you think that you're capable of doing, and what they think that you're capable of doing is really none of their concern, man. It's as much as you love them to death, as much as you want their input, as much as you want their support, a lot of times, man, like, they're not gonna understand what you're doing. It's like, competitive bodybuilding. A lot of people, including my family and friends, the ones who don't compete, they don't understand why I would do that. You don't understand why I'm doing cardio or fucking working out 2 hours a day or whatever it is. It's like, but yo, at the end of the day, I love this shit. It's the same thing with music. I may piss a lot of people off because I'm making noise or whatever it is, or I'm rounding the walls, but yo, deal with it. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I was put here to do. And a lot of people, they never use their gift because they're so afraid of what other people gonna think about them. But I was listening to this. I was listening to this video a few years ago. I think the guy's name is Prince Edmund. I can't remember the cat's name, but he said he's like, bruh, he's like, if you want to go to a place where dreams are unfulfilled and potential is untapped, go visit a graveyard. You know, he's like, or better yet, go to an old folks home and listen to people who were in their 80s and 90s tell you what they wish they would have did this, wish they would have did that. It's like, go listen to them, and go and figure that out, because it's like, you never want to be that age where you're like, yo, I wish I would have did this, I wish I would have did that. Because at the end of the day, man, it's like, go after what you want. It doesn't matter what other people think, man. It matters what you think. It matters what you think and what you feel. So if you have an inkling of wanting to chase after a goal, wanting to chase after a dream, wanting to use your gift, and if it doesn't make sense to somebody else, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to make sense to somebody else, as long as it makes sense to you. And that goes with anything, with any arena. You know, as much as something doesn't make sense to somebody else, I'm pretty sure this shit that other people do, you're like, why the fuck would you date that motherfucker? Or why the fuck would you, work that job or whatever it is, or just anything. It doesn't matter. And at the same time, it's like, there's also people questioning you too. And but then again, like I said, it doesn't matter. What matters is, are you happy with what you're doing? And if the answer is yes, cool. And if the answer is no, you better figure it the fuck out. Anyway, y'all, this is 25 minutes of your life that you won't get back. I appreciate y'all for coming to my podcast, checking it out, listening. Hopefully, I wasn't too long winded, man. And because usually when I do these podcasts, I do get long winded. But when I'm talking about music or anything in general, I kind of just get lost in my thoughts, out loud. Anyway, man, hope y'all keeping it a full piece. Private player, positive pushing, and hope 2022 is off to a great start, man. It's like from me to you, it's all love, bro. It's always gonna be love. Love y'all, man. Goes. See y'all next week.